Yeah.
this book in Capri. I feel like there's a lot of bonding. My notes that I had in my notes was like, there's a lot of bonding going on in this particular series. And so, yeah, it
Can we
was
take
cool.
a time to see what you say? You said the emotions hit harder than the bullets in this book.
Yeah.
Like that's a bar, bro, but that's a true statement, bro.
Yeah.
This book right here was probably the most from what we've read thus far. Thus far. This is probably one of the most emotional books that we've seen probably since the revelation of what happened with
Facts.
Amy and Ace, right? So that one, that line right there, that's a bar in itself. The
Hey,
emotions hit harder than the bullets in this
hit
one.
harder
Like
than the bullets do in this one because
that's insane, bro.
and then she wrote it in a way where you have these emotional scenes. She wrote in a way that I feel like that still appeal to men. They wasn't super like sappy. They were just human and authentic and raw and visceral, and it provoked a reaction and emotion. You know what I'm saying? Poor man, for real, my tear ducts was going crazy on this joint, man. I had the double tear white going, like it was crazy. But yeah, like
And am I
she
tripping?
delivered.
This one was the brothers arguing or 2.5? I just got to make sure I'm
Yeah,
not
I think
tripping.
it was in this one. I
It's
think it
this
was
one.
they bumped heads in this
So
one.
this was the first time we could talk about that real quick. I was just like, because it's so many things that I'm thinking about in my head. It's like you got 2 and 2.5, which we hear is just literally just one book. So technically, even though we broke this into half, it's still one book when you buy it. It's not 2.5 when you buy the
Right. It's
soft
one
cover.
book
So
when
it's
you
really
buy
one
it.
book. So we can still say it as it's one book. That
Got
emotional
you.
moment between the twins was crazy too, because them arguing with each other was like the first time we see the siblings going at each other, right? And I'm talking
Yeah.
about throwing punches, trying to really take each other head off in this one. He getting
That part.
pushed man hard. So that sibling John right there, it was just like that was another emotional point, you know, finding out. Obviously, we know Tasha's still here, but you know, them actually having that a moment about Tasha and him saying you ain't do the job, and Capone like it was his moment of like fresh air because he finally gets to say, I held this family down while you was locked up, sitting up comfy. I'm the one who held this. Who they put this thing together?
I
Me.
just wish that
That's
they
who.
didn't have to go there. I wish that
Right.
Capone never had to
But
say
he said it
that,
though.
bro.
He said, "Who put this thing
Yeah, he
together?
said
Me."
it, but I
That's
just
who.
wish the family would have just
Like jumped.
like
They
make
did.
it known that
Qasim got in there. Was
Capone,
like,
you held
yo,
this joint down.
she did. Erin came out and said it, and she was talking to Cap like, "Yo, he did it without you." Threw it back in there, like, and then when you came home, you had him. He didn't have you when he was out here going at it. And Elia came, oh, not too much of my man now, but it's the truth though. We gotta stop living in that fantasy. It's the truth, bro. It's a way you can say it. It shouldn't have came out like that.
Yeah,
but it
that's
did.
real. Like
but
Capone,
it's the truth.
Cappadonna had Capone. Capone didn't have Cappadonna.
Exactly.
Cappadonna
He
was
had
behind
to put,
that wall.
and he was still, Capone had a big, that's why Capone is the foundation of everything, because that heavy is the head line, that goes to Capone, because Cappadonna, rightfully so, he was locked up. Capone built it. Like, built it and ran it. When they went to jail, like Tasha even said it. Not Tasha, Cappadonna baby moms. She even said it. She was like, yo, before when Cap went to jail, they had a little bit of money, but he wasn't popping like he is now. So Capone built that joint up together. So, and I think that all of that raw emotion that came out between the brothers, and I think Capone, I don't even think it was targeted towards them. I think it was all targeted towards Morgan, but you know, he still pressed him about, you know, he was like DMX and Belly, you know, he liked to leave people stinking. That's what he say. You know what I mean? And Capone is like Nas. You know what I mean? Yo, I'm going to Africa, yo. You know what I mean? But X is like running past that light. And here go Triller. Triller like to do with the banana paws. I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff at all. I'm gonna drop the dime on them fools because we gonna find out that Triller was work. We gonna talk about that in 2.5.
Yeah, it comes out. I feel like emotionally, like there were funny scenes. Capella describing Cap and Goon's funny morning workouts when they was in hiding,
up and down the stairs,
running up and down the them big cells, running up and down the stairs, man. I feel like another emotional moment when Capella and Amy are having their issues and their intimacy, sex droughts, and their problems, and it's being slowly poured out that, you know, there's some postpartum issues there with Amy. I feel like that was genuine and real. even Jean's story in chapter 7, when she goes back and she recalls giving birth to Court back in the day, and how Dez was locked up, you know, and like times was just rough during those years. And so yeah, there was a lot of emotional appeal in this book, man. I loved it, bro. It was dope.
And some of the things that we do find out, we know that Morgan and them know about Capone killing the judge and stuff like that. We find that out, that Morgan knows that. We find out that Amy had an abortion, right? Amy is the second